Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions for the worlds of social media, pop culture, and sports. I am pleased to be joined by an actor and a voice actor. You might have seen him on many shows like Dark Matter, 12 Monkeys, Designated Survivor as well. He's also a voice actor, Hockey Night Canada. He's also done the Olympics at CBC. I'm with Jeff Teravainen. Jeff, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you very much. How you doing?
Pretty good. So, I mean, I love having guests like you on the show where you don't just do one kind of profession in the acting, in the entertainment sphere, right? You know, like you're acting, you're doing voice acting, you're doing a lot of different things. I've seen also you've kind of been almost like that pundit talking head, going on, CBC talking about like almost like the reporting type of stuff. Do you find that kind of keeps it fresh, keeps it going, and it's just like diversifies what you're able to do, right?
Yeah, it also keeps the mortgage paid.
Touche.
Just the reality of the business. I'm really, and I mean this, I'm very, very fortunate that I get to do the voice work in that. Because acting can be tough, especially in Canada where, we don't have that star system here. So you're hustling all the time trying to get what you can get. Yeah. And you do get break with, say, something like Dark Matter where it recurs and keeps coming back. But, voice has been very good to me. I've been able to do, different network voices, Olympics, commercials, video games, animation, that kind of thing. So
do you find though that getting back to like what you said, about more income and everything, do you then find that kind of it might have been seen as kind of like you basically, people go to your IMDb and say, oh, this guy does a lot of stuff, and like 5-10 years ago they'd be like, okay, that's kind of new and that's different, he could do more things, but now a lot of people are kind of trying to do more than one service.
Oh yeah. I mean, video games is a great example of how much the industry's changing. When I first started doing video games, I was a bit of a junkie on it in the first place. So I loved it, but I mean, a lot of people didn't understand it. They thought you showed up in a studio and went, "Hey, get out of there," and stuff like that. But I mean, when I did Far Cry 2 back in 2008, there was literally hundreds of pages of script, and now it's gone exponential that way. There's just so much stuff, and then you have all the performance capture, which is incredible to do.
Yeah.
I'm working with actors now that I can't believe I'm in the same room with, and they get it. It's a real acting gig. The only difference is you are doing it to sort of like a green screen sort of thing. Yeah. It's the same. You got the dots all over you, and it's just picking up your data.
No, absolutely. And, you mentioned Dark Matter. I mean, talk a little bit about that. Talk about your character in Dark Matter. Talk about how that was. Give our viewers and listeners a little briefer about Dark Matter.
Well, basically, for those who don't know, it's a show that started out with 6 individuals and an android on a ship who had their memory erased. And first season's a lot about trying to figure out who they are, and it went from there. But they find out they were kind of rogue individuals. But now that their memories have been wiped, they're actually really good people. And it kind of explores how, you are a product of your environment. They had a fresh start. I'm really fortunate because I got, in the first season, I came on as a undercover guy in episode 8. And then you found out later that I was working with one of the crew. And I played Lieutenant Anders, a really cool character. Probably the most fun I've ever had playing a character ever. And they keep bringing him back, which is awesome. So
that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I just had, and you can kind of see because, I've watched clips, but I've also seen you in 12 Monkeys, and I've also seen you in some other shows as well. Like I said, you were in a few episodes of, or one, was it one or more Designated Survivor?
One.
That was one.
We heard rumors about that, but that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah. But just to be like around that production must have just been like, you'll never ever forget that.
Yeah. I've been really fortunate too, because pretty much every production I've worked on, the people have been great. I used to be in music, and it's a different industry. Right. Whereas television, everybody from the top to the bottom all seems to be pulling in one direction. I think they want to make a great product and they have fun doing it. Designated Survivor was cool because, of course, you're working with someone like Kiefer and kind of like a living legend. But he's just a really nice, down-to-earth guy.
Also a musician, too.
Yeah, exactly. A really good one, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I heard some stuff in the summertime.
He did a few, I think it was like last year, he did a tour where he came to small little bars, and I saw a Facebook event about it, but it already passed, and I was like, man, like if I would have known about this, I would have totally checked that out.
Honest to God, I have no idea how those guys do it, because they do a 22 episode arc, and the hours that we're putting in on that show were sometimes 18, 19 hours a day. So he's doing that, and he's got these big things of dialogue he's got to get down for every episode and stuff. And then he gets his time off, and what does he do? He goes on tour. Yeah. I don't know how. Where do you get your rest?
Well, I just had Carl McDowell on the show. He basically is on HBO's Ballers with The Rock, and he's also been like in Sons of Anarchy and Animal Kingdom, and he plays in a band. I call it a super group because it's him and Michael Rosenbaum from Impastor and Supernatural.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not Supernatural. Smallville, from Smallville. He played Lex Luthor, yeah. So they play in a band together. And it's like, I just look at, and Michael Rosenbaum is the one who's, the singer of this band. He's like doing a lot of like promotion of it. They're going on tour. And I'm like, how do you have time?
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a small child, so I mean, I spend a lot more time at that phase. I want to be with her, but when she gets sick of me, maybe I'll start doing other things as well. But
talk a bit about you said music. Talk about your like, what did you do before you were in like entertainment, like acting? What did you do in the music?
My life, yeah, I was a singer in a couple bands, and I played bass as a main instrument, and then I did solo stuff. But we never made it big. We got close. We had videos that were playing Say How Much Music, which was amazing.
What was the band called?
I don't even want to say.
Is it?
And that we did was The Life. It was the one that had the most success. But
The Life?
Yeah, The Life. And like I said, we actually got stuff on rotation on Much Music and things, but we just never got that final rung in the ladder. We were always surrounded by people doing well. Like one of my first guitar players for years was Mike Turner from Our Lady Peace, for example.
Oh wow. We had Jeremy Taggart on the show. He was the drummer then.
So yeah, I mean, we'd play gigs after too. When he went on to Our Lady Peace, The Life would play with him, and we're always sort of close on the cusp, but it never went the way we wanted to.
Well, it's funny. I was a concert promoter when I was in Montreal. I was booking shows in clubs. Yeah, that's kind of how I started getting interested in like kind of social media marketing and the digital entertainment sphere. So I was young. I started when I was 16, 17. I didn't have money to pay for like print ads, so Facebook events, that's literally what it was.
So look what it's into now, huh?
Pardon me?
Look what it's bloomed into now. Now you don't have to be out there posting lamps and stuff.
It's huge. It's a game changer. And the thing too is I go sometimes on podcasts, they ask me about the social media landscape, and Popternative started more as kind of like, I always put in social media in there because I like having those discussions with guys like yourself that, when you were doing it, 10 years ago, it wasn't around, right? Now you can kind of see what it was like then, what it was like now. And there's always going to be changes. It's never going to be like what we have now as social media is going to be arguably completely different in 5-10 years.
Yeah, for sure. It's constantly evolving, which is cool about it. You're talking about like promoting bands and stuff. A friend of mine showed me his cousin's band. It's down in Idaho or something like that, I think it was. But they were doing a Facebook Live event, and it was amazing to see the number of people suddenly popping in that room and watching them. And
that's huge. Yeah, people are doing that now.
Because now if they do show up in your town, maybe you'll say, I want to see that band in full with the full audio and stuff because they were really cool. Mm-hmm. What a great way to be able to do it.
Well, the whole like behind the scenes access of things, right? Like for example, a lot of hockey teams and sports organizations are kind of Facebook Living the warm-ups before the games, right? Like you don't have to be at the game to watch the warm-up.
It's unbelievable what the access is, and like you said, for hockey or just you tweet something, the next thing you know, your favorite actor's like liking it and thanking you for doing it. It's just a weird, different world now.
Yeah, it's completely different. And I mean, specifically for you, like, how has it affected Jeff Teravainen? Like, I'm sure, you know, it's affected you. I mean, it's going to be twofold, because there's going to be kind of the negative aspect of it is everyone has access.
Yeah.
So more saturation, but I'm sure you've taken advantage of it.
I mean, I consider myself a small fish still, so it's growing, and things are going in the right direction that way. So I still get amazed that people want to interact with me on Twitter. I guess you could say I have a fan base, but it's freaky to me. It's really cool, and so far the fans have been amazing. I've only had a few very strange email stuff sent to me, very strange, but luckily so far so good. But
have you been? I know Killjoys do a lot, like the fan expos. Is Dark Matter doing any of those?
Yeah, I mean,
do you go to them?
Yeah, the main cast has been doing them for a while. I'm over the moon, man, because I'm just starting to do them now. I should actually run and get the date for you, but I have my first event is in North Carolina coming up, and I think it's September 23rd, the Crystal Coast Con. And I'm going to be down in Texas soon.
You must be elated. You must be so excited, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I love the social media aspect of interacting with people. Like, I kind of wake up in the day, I read my Twitter, and I can't believe that people want to talk to me about all this stuff. So for me, it's cool. So, I'll take the time to do it. But to do it at a con sounds like it'll be unbelievable. To meet these people, because I love to, someone says something nice about you, I'll look on their page and think, who is this person from Nebraska and what do they do? And I'm amazed that they want to talk to me. So
is this your first official con?
Yeah, it's the first one, and I've had all kinds of friends in the industry, like, tell me what to expect and that, but it should be fun. And then we've got some in Europe coming up as well, and I can't wait. I mean, I love traveling anyways. So actually, the Crystal Coast one, I'm a huge fossil nut. And it's one of the best places in the world to find megalodon teeth. So then I'm going to go out with a guide and see if we can find some few million-year-old shark teeth.
That's really cool. No, it's that I find there was I always joke around too, because you remember the show Arthur?
Yeah.
There's like an archaeologist episode of Arthur where Buster and Arthur are going fossil hunting, and they
show.
Yeah, and they bring, I don't know why, you just said that, and it just reminded me of like fossil hunting, and that episode just came to mind.
One of my big geek outs. I love doing that kind of stuff. So
yeah, no, absolutely, and we talked a little bit about it. I mean, it's pretty awesome because how supportive. Especially you said like two things. You said like kind of like small fish in the big pond type thing, but you also said as well like the Canadian scene is kind of small. It's still small. It's growing, but it's nowhere near as big. But I find it really refreshing and awesome that there's still a community aspect of things where you guys are helping each other out, right? You're introducing each other to people. Like Tamsin introduced you to me, which I thought was awesome.
Well, Tamsin's amazing anyways. Like, we work together on some other things too. So, yeah, you're right. That's a perfect example. I'll help her any way I can, and I know that it works both ways that way. Mm-hmm. In fact, I introduced her to the Comic-Con I'm talking about because I thought she would be amazing for it. So she's coming down to it as well.
Oh, wow.
But, I mean, yeah, that's the difference I found between music. When I remember, say, for example, you'd be opening up for these heroes of yours, and you do a great sound check because you want to impress them. Like, I love these guys. And then when you show up on stage, all your settings are buggered up because somebody in the band or in their crew saw you did a good job and thought, well, we better screw these guys up. Whereas in film and television, you don't get that. Like you got actors helping actors, that sort of thing. Usually on camera when you're doing a scene, even the big actors I work with will still be present when it's time to do your side of things because you know how they'll shoot the lead actor, then they shoot you. Mm-hmm. I've heard horror stories of like the big guys leaving and putting a tennis ball for the guy to talk to when it's his turn on camera. But I've never had that, thankfully. But that's what I mean. It's been a good experience for me. So
no, absolutely. And I also find it interesting too. I mean, you've done. I'm sure you've done. Have you done a horror movie?
Horror movie?
I mean, you've done like sci-fi, you've done kind of the more dark things, I understand that. But, I mean, I always find it cool because you might do something on screen, right? Or like a video game voice, right? And then like you kind of see it and you're like, oh man, like this is scaring the hell out of me. I didn't even realize that this is going to look like this.
Yeah, I guess I've done some things where I was surprised by the outcome, but I would love to do some crazy horror movie, you know, with an alien or that sort of thing, or spiritual things. Like, I'd love that.
We had Steve Coulter, who was Reg Monroe on Walking Dead. He's been on my show. Oh. But he's also been on, like, he's been in Insidious and The Conjuring as a priest.
Yeah, those are good too, so.
Yeah, and he was just saying that he would get scared filming it. Like, just the concept, they'll explain the scene to him. And he does. It's not like there's no effects or anything, right? But like he's just doing it, and then basically he's like the mental picture in my head while I'm doing these lines scares the crap out of me.
Well, I can see it because when you're really into a scene, like I always remember I had this little tiny scene in this thing, and I was at a guard post, and there was supposed to be aircraft flying over. And I remember when we did the scene, I was so into it, I could see those and hear those jets flying over in the middle of me talking. So that's like the best moment when you're an actor. But at the same point, though, you know, I always wondered what it would be like to do a horror movie, because at the end of the day, you got 100 people standing out there in the dark watching you, you know, and monitors and stuff. So I wonder if it would be a really creepy environment, or if it would be, you know, you're doing your job, it's fun, you make jokes in between, and you go back to, you know, being terrified or whatever you did.
I feel like you would be like, if I was filming a horror movie, I would kind of cast you as kind of that lead guy. Like, for example, if it was a movie like Saw, or a movie where there's like 7 or 8 of you like trapped, and then kind of like you're kind of like the guy who everyone thinks is sketchy, but you're actually not. You're the hero. Like, I'd cast you as that, Jeff.
Cool. Please become a cast.
No, but like I always find that though, because horror movies are like some of my favorite movies. Just because of that, right? Because you'll start the movie off and you hate this character. You're like, this character sucks. You know what I mean? And then someone gets killed, or he kills someone to save someone, right? And then boom, you know what I mean? Like, your interpretation of this character is completely different, and you like that character now.
The old anti-hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I find that Anthony Lemke's character was like that on Dark Matter, where when I first saw him, I was like, okay, he's the bad dude, and he's like radical. But they've opened him up so much now that like he's one of the best things you'll watch on there now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was kind of like that. That would be a good opportunity to do that, though, play that in a horror movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember too, like Trisha Rainoni. I'm not sure if you know who that is. She's an actress. She was on My Roommate's an Escort with Katie Elman. It's a web series, and she was in. It's a small role, but she was in a horror movie that's like making its rounds now on Netflix called The Void.
I don't know that one, but
and it looks crazy. Like,
man, you really want to push my agent now to try and find something.
We'll make it happen. Like, Jeff's agent horror movie.
Because I've been here. I always wanted to have, the bucket list. I wanted to do some love scene stuff and do it. 2 different films, but you do it and it's nothing like you expect. It's
maybe I will make. Maybe I will write a script one day. Maybe I'll make it. Like, I know. I just have this idea. Like, I like those movies where it's kind of like there was a movie called Devil, where it was an elevator. People were trapped in an elevator, right? Pardon me?
Was the guy that did the M. Night Shyamalan or something, right? I think he did.
He was associated with it. Yeah, I don't think he directed it, but I think he was associated with it. But it was just one of those movies where, like, you didn't know who the devil was. And I could see you in that. Like, I could see you in one of those movies. Like, if it's like a bank robbery scene and like there's like a bunch of hostages, and you're kind of that guy who's like starts off as like a jerk, but then like you're kind of like the voice of reason, like the hero. I can see that. I don't know. You have that. I don't know if I sound crazy to you, but you have that look.
I'm gonna send this to all the casting directors out there. Listen to this man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But we'll wrap up soon. But Jeff, thank you so much for coming on our show. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
And what's next for you right now? I mean, we're kind of waiting to see what's happening with Dark Matter. But what's next for you?
Well, I got a bunch of things in the works, and I think Tamsin might have touched on it when you talked to her. Is that everything has an NDA? You can't talk about anything. I have a web series that's really cool at Recurrent, and I can't talk about it. I have a video game that I'm working on right now that I'm so excited about. And
can't talk about it.
Talk about it. I can't wait to actually tell people what this is. But it's a big one, and it's a great role for me. Plus, I'm doing a bunch of other things on it. So, yeah,
I feel like actors and actresses like say that line you just said. I'm working on a bunch of stuff. I feel like that's a line that is used like every day by you guys.
Yeah, I'm sitting around in my underwear on the couch, like in real life, just waiting for something. No, honestly, like for some people, maybe it is. I don't know. I mean, I could be. I wish I was busier than I am. I'll put it that way, but. Thankfully, I do have these things.
Tamsin touched on that too. I mean, the like you want to always be busy because that's the point of it, right? Like, but there'll be stretches, right? Like for example, Neil Brown Jr., who's been on my show, he right now is like, I swear to God, Jeff, I haven't seen a guy have so much stuff like all ready to go. So it means like 2-3 years ago, he was probably filming all this stuff.
Yeah,
and it probably
You know, at Christmas time, I was pulling my hair out because I was so busy. I was literally filming 4 different projects at the same time. And I remember thinking, this is unbelievable, but how am I going to do this? And then, like you said, it just dies out and suddenly you're tearing your hair up because you're not busy. So you can't.
But is that, like, I wanted to ask you, I mean, like you said, I mean, maybe it's different for the ones like that are working all the time and have like a lot of series and everything, but that happens, right? There'll be like 3-4 months where you're working nonstop because you're filming a bunch of things or recording a bunch of stuff, and there's gonna be kind of like 2 months of kind of like downtime and you're kind of like waiting for everything to come out. Does that ever happen?
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's what I'm sitting on a bunch of things right now. I have a movie coming out sometime in Canada called The Perfect Soulmate. I'm really excited, but I shot this last Christmas, right? So
is this like a Hallmark movie? Like
more of a Lifetime movie. But
my mom loves those movies.
Oh, really? That's a cool role. I play. Let me put it this way: I play an amazing dad, but a terrible husband. But
are you one of the leads?
Yeah.
It's Lifetime?
It's Lifetime in the States. It's already played there, but it's got Cassie Cerebo as well from Sharknado and all that stuff. But yeah, that should be somewhere coming out in Canada soon.
It's like a Christmas movie?
No, this is not a happy one. This is Cassie Cerebo plays a bit of a psychotic person. But other ones, the Hallmark ones. I had an amazing role with Brooke Shields in Snipped in the Bud.
I saw that on one of your reels. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was fun. And she was like the coolest down-to-earth girl you'd ever meet.
Wait, is that a Christmas movie?
No, not Christmas, but I mean, it's
okay. Tell your agent you got to be on a Christmas movie too. Horror movie, a Christmas movie.
I would love to do one of those too. I just like working on cool projects, and again, so cool. And I was frankly shocked at how down to earth Brooke was. Like, we were shooting in North Bay, Ontario, and I mean, every day after filming, you think she would be off going on a jet somewhere. She'd be down having scotch with the guys and stuff in the hotel lobby just to hang out. Just a really nice person.
Well, I mean, you're people. I mean, you're people that are in the public eye more than others. But and that's the thing. When I started working in hockey, my life, when I started I volunteered at the NHL All-Star Game in 2008 when it was in Montreal, and that was kind of one of the most important things that ever happened to me, because that's where I was like, you can be a fan, you can love things, absolutely, but that was the first time where I've kind of that whole being a fan, because I used to go to shows all the time and getting my band signing the shirt and the photos and meeting people, you know what I mean? And then a switch came off my head, they're people, it's the same, and social media now gives us more access to these people.
Yeah. At the end of the day, people are people doing their thing. I guess there's certain ones though. The reason I was surprised about Brooke is she's just such kind of, she's a star, but she's also kind of an iconic figure from, say, the 80s and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the circles that she runs in, like everybody from Michael Jackson to knowing presidents and stuff. So it was just it was like, wow, she is actually down to earth.
She had a guest appearance in Entourage.
Oh yeah.
Oh dude. So Johnny Drama's filming a movie with her. as her brother in the movie, and he's like trying to hit on her the whole time, and she's like, "You play my brother." Like, stop.
Exactly.
Oh man, no, it's good. Well, I could chat with you for hours about this stuff, man. So we'll definitely have to get you back on this. Maybe have you on a panel too, because we do one-on-ones, and we also do panel discussions.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. We could talk some sports and stuff too. I mean, I'm a huge sports fan, especially.
Yeah, no, I wanted to talk about. I know, like there's we like myself, like there's so much stuff we could talk about that there's gonna kind of be stuff that's left on the side. But I mean, who are you? Who's your favorite hockey team?
You know, it's a tough one. Because I live in Toronto now, I'm starting to get pulled that way, but I was always a Montreal Canadian fan. I grew up, when I grew up, Yvon Cornway and Steve Shutt and Ken Dryden and stuff, they were my heroes. I played major hockey when I was a kid too, so
yeah.
I lived and breathed it as a kid. So it was funny because I remember we lived sort of halfway in Montreal when I was a kid.
Yep.
They're taking me to a jersey store, and it was like, which one do you want? And I remember taking the red one, and they're saying, "Are you sure you want that one?" So, but yeah, I was always a fan of them. And you know what? They won anyway. So
yeah, no, absolutely. But well, Jeff, thank you so much. Where can people follow you on Twitter? What's the handle?
Jeff Teravainen at Twitter. Jeff Teravainen at Twitter, I guess it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same with Instagram. If you like photography, I shoot all the time. I love pictures. So
awesome. No, for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us. All the best with your future projects. Everyone that liked this video, you can click the little like button. You can also subscribe on YouTube if you like this and want to see some more content as well. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook at Popternative. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, this is Jeff Teravainen and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.